I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
By 2/100ths of a second over Brandon. That S4 guy off turn 4 for the final time sees the checkered flag. It waves. It belongs to the 315. Checkered flag. Contact, and Brian Rose wins it. A photo finish at the line. Oh, we got a wreck. Will Hewitt's through the trial for the final time, and oh, they're wrecking. Big trouble. Vincent Short sneaks through, and I think Short... The first motorsports competition at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway took place in 1909 in the form of motorcycle races. Automobile races would soon follow. When the track's original surface of crushed stone and tar proved to be problematic, the owners paved the track with more than 3 million bricks, giving rise to the nickname the Brickyard. The 1990s saw major changes to the speedway. In 1994, IMS President Tony George, grandson of Tony Pullman, consummated an agreement with NASCAR to stage a stock car race, the Brickyard 400, at the Speedway. Then in 2000, George brought Formula One racing back to the USA after a 9-year absence, staging the U.S. Grand Prix at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. To do so, however, required a massive renovation of the facility, including the construction of a 2.6-mile road course that combined a portion of the oval with twisting infield section. Although the Formula One racing would only last through 2007, its place has been taken by MotoGP, enabling the Indianapolis Motor Speedway to return to its motorcycle roots. In 2014, the road course also hosted the Grand Prix of Indianapolis, an Indy car race, as the kickoff to the month of May, concluding with the Indianapolis 500 on its traditional weekend date. Tonight, it's the Black Horizon Truck Series Sip Talk Grand Prix. It's next on HBR TV. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course for tonight's Black Horizon Truck Series Sith Talk Grand Prix. Practice just about wrapped up here. Top of the charts, Brandon Alphine, Zach Millett, Sean Petchin, Justin Bondurant, and then Sam Fontaine, your top five. Practice officially over here. We're going to get right into the qualifying session. A 10-minute session, 2 laps to set the field for tonight's race. See who rolls out first. Looks like Luke Strayer going to try his hand here before anyone else at the end of pit lane here. Very challenging road course here at Indianapolis. Course relatively flat, really no banking to speak of until you get back onto the oval, and even then it's not significant. Drivers having a difficult time putting the power down on that final corner, the IndyCar turn 1, I guess you could say. It's turn 14 here on the road course layout. Down into turn 11. Hard braking into turn 12, the right-hander, then another quick left, that's 13. And then turn 14 we talked about being the turn 1 oval. Bit of a transition from the flat up into the entrance to turn 1. It's a little bit of banking, but they really don't get to utilize a whole lot of it. Not like they did with Formula 1. Takes the green flag, does Luke Strayer. Taking a look at the point standings coming into tonight. Sam Fontaine, your points leader at 51.93. You see the drivers playoff eligible and then everyone else outside of the top 10, the best of the rest battle. The nice thing is with this league is they do get an opportunity to fight for some prize, even though they may not be in it for the overall championship. Already 3 minutes in. No one officially clocking in a time as of yet. Looks like Zach Millett and Luke Strayer, the first two to actually hit the racetrack. Well, maybe not. Jason Dalton, Tristan Lattiser. Sorry, Joey Lattiser. Out just a bit before Strayer and Millett. Across the stripe goes Strayer. Millett with a minute 32.310. Lattiser, Daniels, Sainz all crossing the stripe here. Brandon Alphine, real quick, minute 31.625. Watch Zach Millett here, see if he can pick up the pace on his second time around. Remains to be seen which one is faster, whether it's that out lap, that first time lap, or the final second lap. top three right now, Brandon Alfine, Justin Vonnerant, Zach Millett. Real loose on the exit for Millett there. Gathers it back up. Really pushing the truck hard. Oh, gets a piece of the wall on that final lap. That's going to do it for Millett's qualifying attempt. Sam Fontaine, again, the points leader coming into tonight. Little over rotate, nothing to be too concerned with. Jumping over the curves, that's normal too. Going real wide on the exit there. Hammer down. Straightaway between turn 6 and 7. Hard left turn. Misses the apex a bit, runs a little wide, doesn't get in the grass. It's going to hurt his entry to this corner here. That's going to be 8 and 9, that complex. Then a quick right turn 10. Really got to use up the curbs. Fontaine's first lap, though, a 32.27, not too shabby. Watch the 77 here, see what he can pick up on lap 2. Fontaine out of the throttle. Throwing the lap away at this point. Such a long lap around here. Again, a minute and a half each attempt. We're already just about shy of 7 minutes. Really, it looks like Jacob Gladich, or Jacob Drift, as he is so well known. Really the only driver left on the track to put in a time. Brian Sutphin, Tyler Brewer could make a lap if they chose to roll out right now. I don't know if they'd have enough time. It would be close, but time ticking away. They may just opt to start from the rear. Takes the green flag. He may have time here. It looks like for just one lap. Might be all he needs. A big chunk of the curb there, runs it wide, keeps it straight. Same thing for Jacob there, ran a little wide of the apex there in the left-hand turn 7. Again, a very difficult road course here at Indy. Very flat, no banking to rely on, slow speed corners, so it's all about mechanical grip. Aero not going to come into play a whole lot here. Except for maybe down the front straightaway. Might be able to pick up a draft. But you got to carry that speed down the main straightaway and then be prepared for the very heavy braking for turn 1. Stripe moves up a spot into P16, minute 37. 45 seconds remain in the session, so I don't think Jacob's going to get the second lap in unless it is like a road racing series rules where as long as you take the green and he spins it, so it's not going to matter. So Jacob Gladich, Jacob Drift, as he is so well known, finishes up his Q session. There's still a couple of drivers that have not taken a time. It's Brian Sutphin, Tyler Brewer. While we have a quick moment here, let's take a look at the practice results from earlier on. Alfine was fastest, 1:31.634. Backs up that time here in qualifying. Zach Millett was second fast. Sean Petchin, Justin Bondurant, Sam Fontaine. So qualifying in the books, it is official. Let's take a look at our starting grid for tonight's Sith Talk Grand Prix from Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course. On the pole position with a lap time of 1:31.625. It's the 21 of Brandon Alfine. Outside, front row, Justin Bondurant in the 11. He'll start second. Starting third, Sam Fontaine, the points leader. The number 77 rolls from the third spot. Zach Millett, unable to get a good lap in the second time by. Fourth starting position for that S4 guy. Starting fifth, it's the number 69 of Sean Petchin. Row number 6, Diego Sainz with Gunslingers Racing. Luke Daniels rolls from the 7th spot. Cameron Ingram will start from P8. Joey Laddiser will start in the 9th spot. Steve Miles is going to roll off from position number 10. Starting 11th, it's the 2 of Jason Dalton. 12th goes to Ben Pierce, the number 65 machine. Starting in the 13th position will be Matt Telder in the 1. Luke Strayer, the 41, will start 14th. 15th starter, Asher Gwinsey in the number 12 machine. Jacob Drift, the number 14, starts 16th. 17th starters, Trey Anderson. Brian Sutphin will roll 18th. Luke Simonson, number 49, starts 19th. Tyler Brewer, number 40, will start from the 20th position. That's your starting grid here from Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course. Field just getting ready to roll here in just a few moments. Underway for our one and only formation lap before we take the green here from Indy. Couple guys in the stream chat already. It's Zach Millett, Sean Quincy. Got Millett saying slick. I'm assuming he's referring to the track itself. Track temperature, though, 101 degrees Fahrenheit. It's warm, but it's not really warm. Should be manageable, but again, without the assist from downforce, it's going to be a tough one. No banking to work with. This guy's got the work cut out for him tonight. John Quincy, of course, cheering on Asher. Thank you guys for jumping into the broadcast, especially in the stream chat. We always welcome and appreciate that. Race info for tonight. 60-minute timed race. Not so much worried about laps this evening. They've got it narrowed down. They want to run 60 minutes. They're going to run 60 minutes. Air temperature 75 degrees. Humidity at 48%. Again, we talked about the track temperature at 101 degrees. Cloudy skies, 6-mile-per-hour breeze. Can't imagine that's going to cause too much of an issue for these drivers. Once again, it is the Sith Talk Grand Prix Clashing Sabers podcast. Big thank you out to Black Horizon Truck Series, Great Lakes Sim Racing for providing us with these logos each and every week. Working turn 10 here, just a handful of corners left before we take the green flag. Everybody getting their last final slow motion look at this race facility. Now, right about here is where the pace car will leave the track and hit pit lanes. You've got 2 corners without the pace car. These leaders to work their way and kind of stay tightened up here 2 by 2 before we go to the green flag. Here they come, folks, on to turn 14, back to the main straightaway. Barney the flagman with the green in hand. Waiting
Green
for
flag.
it. It's out. We're off and running from Indianapolis. Fontaine took a peek to the middle there, thought about 3 wide, thought about going to the right side in contact. Fontaine goes around, Petchin makes contact with the left rear of the 77, the points leader in trouble on lap 1, turn 2. Oh no, not good for the 77. He's going to go from the top 5 back to the last place position. Meanwhile, Justin Bondurant takes the top spot away from Brandon Alphine. Zach Millett there in the 3rd position. Alphine looks pretty quick though. Taking a peek to the inside of Bondurant here. He wants to lead lap number 1. Gets to the inside, takes the lead away. Not quite clear yet, though. Hard braking here, not in the greatest of positions, but he can kind of take that line away. Has to slow it way down. Now Bondurant's going to have the advantage for the left-hander, but no. Alphine's got him clear. 21, our pole sitter. Back to the point here at the end of lap 1. Let's tighten these top 3 drivers right up. So our top 3 down the main straight here, hard braking once again down into turn number 1. Alphine clips the curb. It actually helps get the truck to rotate just a bit, especially in these slower corners. Pressure is on, though. Alphine, he's got all kinds of company in the rearview mirror. Bondurant was trying to look for a position to get around for the lead again, but now Zach Millett closing in, challenging Bondurant for P2. It's amazing the lap times these guys are running. Granted, that was the first lap. Here we're going to cross the stripe here, lap 2. We'll see where everybody's stacking out. Last time by, much quicker. It was an 8-second differential from that opening lap to now. Alphine ran a minute 32.31. Millett at 33.16, almost a second off the pace. Bondurant in 3rd at 33.82. Battle for the 7th spot. Ben Pierce in the number 65 machine trying to reel in Matt Telder. Right on the back bumper, took a peek to the inside. This is going through turn 11. Might have him here under the braking zone. Does he get to the inside to do it? No, but contact. Drives into the back of the 1. Telder goes around into the grass. Not the way Pierce wanted to do that. Couple drivers off in that final corner. The 41 of Luke Strayer in it as well. Matt Telder in behind. Telder goes from 7th back to 15th with that contact. Interesting to watch Telder try and work his way back up through the field here. Sean Petchin running in the 13th spot after some early contact. Petchin losing connection here in and out. We saw this a little bit in practice as well. Big wiggle out of Strayer in behind. He continues on without an issue. Telder going to try and take advantage here on the brakes down to the left-hand turn 7. Textbook pass by the 1. Back up to Ben Pierce, though, running in that 7th spot after making contact with Telder. Let's take a look, see if he's got any front end damage. It seemed to be a pretty significant hit. In fact, he does. Don't know how much that front end is pushed in on the radiator, but it may come into play later on. These trucks, these cars, doesn't matter. They are known for mechanical failures after an impact, especially when it involves the front end of the truck, especially in that grill area. It can overheat and blow the motor. Something he's going to want to keep a close eye on is those gauges. Battle for the 9th spot, Trey Anderson and Diego Sainz. Sam Fontaine, though, quietly working his way back through. Remember, he went back all the way to 15th on that opening lap incident in the exit of turn 1, getting into turn 2. Let's go back and look at it, see what we can see here. This is the replay of the start. The 77 there up in the middle goes to the right side, checks up to avoid contact with Alfine. Petchin gets into the left rear. A little bit of contact made with the 77 after the fact as well, so there may be a slight damage. It looks okay. It's certainly not slowing him down too terribly much working back through the field. Fontaine still runs in that 11th spot right behind Diego Sainz. Little bit of wheel hop. You hear it getting into the corner where the RPMs kind of disappear for a moment. A little bit of rear wheel lock up, and then the back of the truck starts jumping up and down. It's a helpless feeling when that happens as a race driver, as we got a battle for position just ahead here. Trey Anderson trying to get around Jason Dalton. It's right to the back bumper. Well, out front, Brandon Alfine, still your race leader, only 8 to 9 tenths above Zach Millett. through 12 and 13 into that final corner. Once again, turn 14 relatively flat. You see the banking of the oval turn 1. They don't really get to much of it at all. Jason Dalton puts some distance between himself and Trey Anderson. Starts to close in on Ben Pierce a bit. Pierce has been in that 7th position since contact into turn 12 with Matt Telder. Telder went around through the grass. He's back in the 14th spot. I stand corrected. Sam Fontaine, that first lap incident, he didn't go to 15th. He went to dead last, P20. He's back up in the 11th spot. Battle between himself and Diego Sainz right now. That was happening just behind Dalton and Anderson. Diego Sainz still holding off to 77 for now. Meanwhile, 28 of Luke Daniels is closing into the back bumper as well. It's right on board with Luke as he negotiates this road course. Fontaine going to the inside for Diego Sainz into turn number 1. He's going to get the spot out, breaks the 44. It's all on board here. He's side by side as well. Luke Daniels trying to take it away. Fontaine gets 2 for 1 here. Looks like he goes by into the 9th spot. Trey Anderson, the 85. He loses that position as well. He's got to go. Fontaine's not wasting any time here. Got 11, now 12 minutes into this 60-minute race. Brewer report he just went off track. It's back under power. No damage, it appears, to the 40 machine, but maybe some pride. Back in that 17th position, though he is up 3 spots. Didn't qualify today. Race leader still out in front. Brandon Alfine from P1 has led every lap thus far. Officially at the line. Bonnarant did get around initially on that first lap, but did not come back to the stripe as the race leader. That was the 21 of Alfine. Now 6 to 7 tenths of a second ahead of Zach Millett. Millett starting to close in. This track really might come down to who's able to save tires the best throughout the course of this long run. Of course, no cautions to speak of, local yellows only. No chance to get caught up. Gonna need to stop for fuel, I would imagine, within an hour of this race. Question will be, do you opt for tires or not? I think everyone's going to take 4. You're going to take a full load of fuel as it is. You're going to have the time for the most part to bolt 4 good years on. Jason Clark says it's Alfine. Okay, well, that's how I was saying it early in the season. And then I heard somebody else say Alfine. I'm like, well, they raced together. He must know the guy. So my mistake. Alfine. All right, got it. Zach Millett, though, has significantly cut into that gap. Less than 2 tenths of a second now, pretty much right there. Less than a truck length off the back bumper of the 21. Just finishing up lap number 9. Brandon a little bit quicker through that section of the track. Back down into turn 1. The advantage just under half a second for the 21 machine. Zach Millen has cut into it. I don't know if there was a mistake that maybe we had missed out of the 21. It doesn't appear to be the situation. He's only got one off track that I can see at this point in the race. Little wiggle out of 6. A lot of the guys are hitting that curve. It kind of straightens the corner out, but it certainly upsets the balance of the truck on exit. You've seen a lot of guys doing it. Juice worth the squeeze, I guess, is the way they're looking at this here. Battle has calmed down here at Indianapolis. Zach Millen hanging tight there, about half a second off the back bumper of Brandon Alphin. Now we watch the battle for P6. Joey Ladisser runs in that 6th position. Ben Pierce, number 65, in behind him. Closes the gap down into 1. Remember, the 65 GetScope.com machine does have some front end damage again after some contact with the 1 of Matt Telder. So far, doesn't seem to be hurting his pace too terribly much. He's able to hang tough there with the 23 machine. Oh, Ladisser goes a little bit wide, opens the door for Ben Pierce, quickly takes advantage and takes the spot, or does he? Does he have him clear? He's got him offline just a bit. Pierce does have the spot. Ladisser's going to have to work hard to get this one back, if at all possible. Ben Pierce now up into P6. Sam Fontaine quietly and slowly but surely fighting his way through this field. Up into the 8th position. Remember, he was dead last to the end of lap 1. Fontaine, even with 12 laps on the tires, still able to close in. He's pushing hard. You saw him get through turns 1 and 2 there. Even now, little Tal happy through 5 and 6. Right on board with Joey Ladisser. The number 23 as Fontaine goes to the inside. Takes advantage. Now I do see some left rear damage still on that 77 truck from that first lap contact. Don't know how badly it's affecting that machine, if at all. He is able to work his way through here as he jumps into that 7th position. Place I can see it really causing a problem might be on this corner here as we see Ben Pierce hit pit lane. So you lose a little bit of that left side force. really do need on the exit of that corner. What little downforce or aerodynamic advantages you can get at this place, you really would need it there. Down into turn one, not so much. Slow corner, heavy braking, not as big of an issue. Clear sailing out in front for Fontaine. Now he can just focus on running consistent, clean laps. Next driver for him to catch is going to be the 7 of Stephen Miles. 3 wins on the season so far for Miles. Doesn't strike me as much of a road racer. Man, is he quick on the oval, but he's making a move here, trying to take the 4th position away from Cameron Ingram in the 5. On the brakes, down into treacherous turn number 12. Seen some action there already today. Right to the back bumper. We'll continue to watch this battle. Meanwhile, Brandon Alphen has stretched his lead out once more over Zach Millett to 1.5 seconds. Was his low is less than 2/10, just a few laps ago. I don't know if Millett burned his stuff off trying to get around or even just catch Brandon Alphen. Was unable to make the pass. Alphen has led every lap thus far. Oh, Miles on the brakes, slides the car, slides the truck, keeps it straight, or does he? No! Old, wore-out tires, hard to keep that one saved. He was barely moving, and it still came around. Now he's got the hot, slick tires in the grass. This is going to be tough. He's going to lose a bunch of spots. He does rejoin the race. Tough break for Stephen Miles. Looked like he might have locked up the rears to avoid making contact. Around he went. It's going to drop him back into the 9th spot. He was battling for P4. Now with that incident with Miles, look who's taking over the 5th spot. It's the 77 of Sam Fontaine now. He's handed a bit of a gift for that spot. Which after the way this race started for him, I'm sure he will take it with open arms. It's about 4.5 seconds before he can start to battle Cameron Ingram, though. The question is going to be, though, 22 minutes in, when will these drivers start to pit? We did see one already come down and do that. However, Tyler Brewer, he's in pit lane now. He's been there now for 6 minutes. I don't know if he's just calling this one a night. Opted not to qualify tonight. Was having a tough go of it. He was up 2 spots. Looks like Matt Telder and Luke Simonson are also out of this. Telder only making it about 6 laps. Simonson 4. And Ben Pierce, the only driver on the track who has made a pit stop thus far. He's running back in the 16th spot. Took tires and fuel. Pierce not a lap down as of yet. And I guess the mindset is here, if he's out there with a little bit fresher tires than the race leaders, might be able to hold him off for now. Pierce's last lap, in effect, was 1:33.4. Leader's last time was almost 1:35. So he should be okay, as these lead drivers will need to make a pit stop themselves at some point. Brandon lights out so far. 16 laps in, 16 laps led. Problems again for Stephen Miles. This is in turn 12. Again, it's been the hot corner this afternoon. Not sure if this was initiated by contact or not. It seemed there was some traffic when he was facing the wrong direction. Let's get a look. It says Diego Sainz crashed as well. Has he just made contact with the 7? on the brakes. Does he lock him up? Looks like that's exactly what happened. Locked him up. Sainz gets into the right side. Not significant contact. In the meantime, looks like Steve Miles is down pit lane. Lost Miles for a minute there. He's back in. This is the pit box. Things going from bad to worse for Steve Miles here. Not sure if maybe he did have some right front damage on that truck from that contact from Sainz. He's going to bolt 4 fresh tires on it regardless. Again, no fast repair here in the Black Horizon Truck Series. It's certainly one thing I do like about this league. Forces guys to take care of their stuff throughout the course of the race, however long it may be, an hour or two or whatever it is. Mistakes happen, but everybody's dealt the same cards. Looks like Miles is going to hang there, try to get some repairs made. Meanwhile, Sam Fontaine down pit lane. Lap 17 for the 77. He's burned his stuff off, trying to work his way back up into the top 5. He did just that, but now it's time for some new tires. Bit of an undercut here. If you can go out there and run some good laps on new rubber against the guys that are out front currently, you can really make up a good amount of track position knowing that they still need to pit. Kind of take advantage of those fresh tires when the leaders are out there on hot, wore-out tires. Lap times right now at 35.65 out of the race leader, at 35.06 out of Millett. Fast laps of the day at 32.31. Fontaine in the pits. Of course, it's going to be 4 tires. That's going to be the call. Everybody's going to do the exact same thing here at Indy. Down and away. So Dalton rejoins the race here, listed in P14, but as I say that, leader's also peeling off the track once again. Bondurant from P3, he's down into the pits. Brandon Alphin and Zach Millett have stayed on the racetrack yet again. Gotta wonder if they're gonna have the pace to outlast this undercut. The rate we're going, we're still gonna have one more pit stop for fuel. Depending on when Millett or Alphin hit pit lane, though, we are approaching about 2.5 minutes shy of halfway. These guys might be opting for the pit stop just strictly based on tires at this point in the race. Bondurant down and away, 15.38 seconds. Not a lightning fast stop, but no mistakes. He's going to rejoin in the 8th spot. Again, he pit from 3rd. Meanwhile, Alphin and Millett have closed back up on each other, 0.6 of a second now. Bypass the pit entry one more time. This could get really interesting because there's a couple of fast guys out there that have made their pit stops for tires only. Again, that does certainly give them more pace, but in doing so, it forces them into a 2-stop strategy. We're about 1.5 minutes shy of halfway. It's Sean Petchen rejoining the racetrack, clearly having some connection issues again. Almost some contact there with Alphin and Millett, though. Driver certainly paying attention to that 69 truck. Certainly makes everyone apprehensive when you're trying to get around him. Now, granted, he does have some fresher tires, so Petchen should be able to drive away from these leaders, and it likely will not hinder them in any way, shape, or form. Certainly does stretch it out down the infield straightaway. Top 2 really been the class of the field so far. It's been Alphin and Millett, 1st and 2nd. Bondurant was having a good afternoon. He still really is. He's completed his first pit stop. He's running in that 7th spot as Ingram and Sainz, Cameron Ingram that is, both hit pit lane. And it's going to be close, 30 seconds before we get to halfway. Drivers are coming down into turn 12. One more corner before they can make the decision to come down and make their pit stop. I would have bet if they're looking at the clock, they may do it now or maybe the next time by. Is it now? It's not for Alphen, but Millett. Millett's going to take the opportunity. Coming to lap 20, Zach Millett from P2 down pit lane. It's a one-stop strategy for Millett. We just get to 30 minutes here. He's going to spend some time in the pits, of course. He's going to have to top off the tank, put 4 fresh Goodyear Racing Eagles on that Silverado. See what he can do if he can get by Alphen here. I would bet, just given the circumstances, knowing that Millett is down pit lane, Alphen's probably going to do the same the next time by. Now, frankly, I would have expected Brandon to come down this time. It really isn't that much of a gamble, given that Millett's not even in his box here. We're at 30 minutes and 30 seconds. Again, a timed race here at Indy, 60-minute the race distance. Jason Dalton in the pits from P3. Millett still listed as P2. That's how much of an advantage him and Alphen had built over the course of the first half of this race. Millett's dropping the jack here. He's down and away. 14.83 seconds for Millett. He's back in the run. So now the question is, Brandon Alphen, does he come this time or does he wait it out? Does he opt for just a couple of laps fresher tires as long as he's got the fuel to do it? I don't know if you make that call or not. He's still got a pretty healthy lead. I think he's going to come this time. No, yes, he is. Brandon Alphen peels off. It looks like he was trying to make the decision last minute, but he had the 5. Cameron Ingram there. Not sure if that was kind of a worry for him. He didn't want to come down pit lane with the 5 to his right side and cause a problem. Very cautious, very smart driving for the 21 of Alphen. I'm just worried about how much time that's going to cost him on this overall pit stop time. It's not just the amount of time you spend in the box, it's everything. It's getting in and out of the pits. It's the pit lane time. Of course, you can't speed. Millett listed 46 seconds in the rearview mirror. Zach Millett's pit time overall, that means entry to pits, pit stop, and exit, was 1 minute and 5 seconds. We're 42 seconds in. It's going to be close. I think Millett's going to come down the straightaway here right behind or possibly just ahead of Alphen here, depending on how this pit stop goes. Another 10 seconds. No, Millett's probably still going to be behind him here. It certainly looks that way. No, Millett with the race lead, goes on by. Misjudged that one. Zach Millett made up a ton of time on his pit stop. Puts himself 7 seconds and gaining over P2. Now the battle for the second spot. Bondurant, not even a battle. He takes the position. Remember, he made his pit stop lap 17. We're on lap 21 now. His tires are hot and probably already starting to wear out. But now Alphen's got some work to do. Yes, he does have fresh tires. Yes, he's good to go to the end. He's got to pass 2 cars if he wants a checkered flag, or 2 trucks, that is. So Zach Millett out 7.4 seconds. We've seen this with Zach in other leagues as well. He really does do well getting in and out of pit lane. Doesn't have to be on a road course. It's the same. We've seen it on ovals as well. Takes a lot of risk to be that fast in and out, mostly coming in. Wait until the absolute last possible moment to get on the brakes with old wore-out tires, light fuel. It's easy to make a mistake and get a penalty out of that, but it's also a good opportunity to make up a ton of time. So 22 laps in, just past halfway. We've been commercial free since the drop of the green flag. Brandon Alphen taking a peek inside. Bondurant for P2. Not enough space to do it as he exits turn number 2. But we are going to jump out and get our HBR TV side-by-side break out of the way. Stay with us. You won't miss a minute of the action. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
I met Marco.
Back at Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course, Zach Millett continues to lead 7.5 seconds back to Brandon Alphin. He's taking that spot away from Justin Bondurant just a few laps ago. Continues to pull away. He's got 2 seconds over the 11 as he continues to try and track down the 315. Millett starting to encounter some lap traffic. That was kind of his issue. Some clear sailing out in front now. As it stands at the moment, 12 trucks still on the lead lap. Diego Sainz, the last one on the lead lap. This battle between Luke Strayer and Brian Sutphin, though not on the lead lap, it is for position. Strayer, the first truck, 1 lap down. It's nice to battle for that position, but with no cautions, there's no real benefit to the lucky dog, at least here on the road course. Still bragging rights, though. Again, a lot of these guys are not road racing aces by anyone's imagination. It's something they don't get a lot of habits or a lot of practice doing. It's mostly oval stuff for a lot of these guys. It's certainly a different discipline that many of them don't have a ton of laps doing, so it's a struggle for some of them. The fact they're all still out here doing the best that they can, certainly very impressive. You look at some of these lap times, and even the guys that are mid-pack or worse, their lap times do get better, and that's just kind of what it comes down to with road racing. It's all about the laps. You got to put in the time, find out where you're slow, even if you're just going to narrow it down to one particular corner on one particular road course. All right, I'm slow here. What can I do to be quicker? And then you just run that lap over and over and over again, focusing on that one particular corner until you're quicker. Brian Sutphin, though, with a big run out of turn 6, gets to the inside under the braking zone into turn 7. He's going to take this position away. Textbook pass by the 26. Sutphin up to P13. Zach Millett still with the race lead, 7.4 seconds back to Brandon Alphen. Brandon had this race well in command for the first half of it prior to pit stops. Since finishing up those pit stops, though Millett did come down a little bit sooner than the 21 of Brandon Alphen, he has been unable to close the gap. It's been relatively consistent at about 7.3, 7.5 lap after lap. Millett still with plenty of work to do. Less than 18 minutes remain, but he's got to get this truck home in one piece. Every lap that goes by, those tires wear out more and more. Truck becomes more and more difficult to handle, and as we saw at the end of that first run, he did start to lose quite a bit of ground to the 21 machine as the tires were more wore out. Now, I don't know if maybe he's made an adjustment to save those tires, make them last a bit longer, because they're going to have to go about the same distance. Does have a pretty healthy margin right now, but that could evaporate quickly with one simple mistake under braking, too hard on throttle on exit, and that truck could be around very quickly. Brandon Alphen will be there to attack. Speaking of cars around, the 12, that's 2 laps in a row. The 12 has been spun, whether it was by himself or otherwise. Asher Quincy having trouble on lap 23 and 24. Let's try and get a look at what happened with the 12. This was a lap ago. See Zach Millett, the race leader, in behind. This is another thing to be concerned with as you start to get some lap traffic, but you can see big-time wheel hop there out of the 12. No spin, but he does come to a stop as the leader was coming, lets him go on by. Very good awareness for the 12 at Asher Quincy. Then his most recent lap, the next time by, same situation, under braking down into turn 1 again. Almost identical, except worse. Again, wheel hop, sending that truck around. He hadn't even started to turn in, just trying to get it slowed down. Now, to talk about wheel hop again, we've mentioned it earlier in the broadcast. I'll cover a little bit more, and loose is Zach Millett as we just come back to live Almost threw it away. But yeah, wheel hop. Basically, all that weight transfers to the nose of the truck. Rear end gets a little bit light and tends to start bouncing on the racing surface. So you lock up the rears, they come back down, they just kind of chatter as you're slowing down, and that very typically causes that truck to rotate and come around. Only way to stop it is to get off the brakes or even give it some throttle. Now, you're coming down into a very slow corner off a very high-speed straightaway. Don't really want to do that if you can avoid it. Battle for second shaping up once again. Bondurant is closed back in. Not sure if Alphen had a problem on track because now his distance to Zach Millett now 11.8 seconds. It was coming down a bit. It was about 6.5. I don't know if, again, Millett was having his own issues, but the sun has peeked its way out here at the Speedway. Still trying to find where there might have been an issue. Brandon Alphen, I don't see anything really jumping out. In fact, here it is. I did find it. Lap 28, just a couple laps ago, under the braking. Again, this has been the tough corner for a lot of guys this afternoon. Alphen running wide in through the grass. And then goes wide again. That explains the gap change between himself and leader Zach Millett. Now Justin Bondurant's going to need to put some pressure on, see if he can force another mistake without having one himself. Really, the closest battle on the track right now is between Alphen and Bondurant. It's about a second between the two. Brian Sutphin back in 12th. Sutphin still the first truck, one lap down. He's got Jacob Drift trying to close in and take a spot away. Seven-tenths of a second between these two and closing. Drift has about one lap fresher tires than Brian Sutphin. It's not much, but at a place like Indy Road Course, it will come into play as the later stages of this run go on. Again, a flat racetrack. It's very easy to burn off the rear tires especially. Taking a look at the weather once again, track temperature is back up into about 111 degrees. All that transfers right back into the tires of the race trucks. Sutphin able to pull away here from Jacob Drift. He's now extended it to 1.6. It's about a second better than he was a couple of laps ago. Luke Daniels running in the 5th spot. Sam Fontaine up into the 4th spot. Again, Sam's got to be kicking himself here, wondering what could have been. Just about 10 minutes remaining here from Indy. Where Sam started in that 3rd position. Looked a little aggressive on the start into turns 1 and 2, but managed to stay off of everybody in front of him. Went a little bit wide to avoid contact. Unfortunately, he had the 69 truck to his left side, and contact was made as you see the damage on the left rear. Around goes Fontaine there to open the race. 3rd to worst on the opening lap, and he's back up into that 4th position. Still has a lot of ground to cover to catch Justin Bondurant, though. It's a 30-second deficit he'd have to make up. And again, without a caution, just don't see it happening. Did a good job salvaging points, though, as this race continues to tick on. And who knows, mistakes can happen within those top 3. 10 laps remaining. Plenty of opportunities for mistakes. 10 minutes remaining, that is. Sean Petchin running in the 6th spot. Petchin started in the fifth position. Had a good practice, honestly. He was right up there, top of the board for a while. Still having some connection issues, though, but having a solid day in P6. Checking on Zach Millett, though. That lead is still shrinking. 8.9 seconds his advantage over Brandon Alphen. Last lap for Millett, a 35.90. Brandon Alphen, a 34.84, almost a full second, in fact, above a full second faster that time by. Even at that pace, I don't know if it's going to be enough to catch him. Millett's going to have to make a mistake here, have a problem, or continue to fall off the way that he is. Millett fresh off a road course win in the truck last night at Watkins Glen, out in the Numb Thumbs Racing League. Dominating performance last night. Definitely had to earn this one tonight. Still time remaining, though. Again, mistakes can happen. Keep a close eye on the intervals here as this race winds down. It's 8.5 seconds back to the 21. Which kind of makes you scratch your head. If Brandon hadn't had that incident where he went wide in turn 12 in the grass, you got to think he'd be within a second or 2 off the back bumper of Zach Millett here with still 7 minutes remaining. Alphen has stretched his advantage over Bondurant to about 5 seconds once again. Millett was a little bit faster this time than last, but not by much. Minute 35.76. Alphen still below that 35 mark. Continues to close in, cuts another half second into the deficit, but again, with time ticking down here, less than 7 minutes to go. Alphen's going to need some luck on his side. Checking on some other drivers within the field here. Cameron Ingram in P10 just now going down a lap. Diego Sainz still giving it all he's got, trying to catch and pass the 5. That would be for position as well. Though they are a lap down, they're still fighting for better finishing order. Five and a half minutes remain here from Indy. Zach Millett still the leader. 6.7 seconds back is Brandon Alphen. Again, Millett might have lost some time there trying to make the pass on some lap trucks. Alphen's going to have to do the same. But now Millett, a minute 36:33 is his last lap to a minute 34:96 for Brandon Alphen. Signs and the 5 going at it. Signs way over on the curb into the grass under the braking zone. He's got the pace. Give it another lap. He's going to have that position. Cameron Ingram doing all he can to defend against it. Back out of turn 11 into 12. Signs dives to the inside. He's got a nose alongside. Not enough yet. Ingram gets a better run down the main straightaway. That could be due to some body damage on the 44. Ingram's truck a lot cleaner, a little slicker in the wind. Here comes Brandon Alphen, going to have to pass these two trucks who are battling for position. Gap continues to shrink between the 21 and the 315, but this could be an issue. The 21 signs loose on corner exit. It's going to open the door for Alphen. This one will be easy. Signs backed way out of the throttle there. Let the 21 go on by, and the 5 does the same. Smooth sailing for Brandon Alphen here, but 3 minutes less remain. Minute 57. Here from Indy, Zach Millett still out in front. Talk about a split in the race. 21er Brandon Alphen won the pole position and led this thing all the way to halfway. He might be one lap above the laps led mark as far as who leads the most. I don't think anybody could touch him just because Millett did pit prior to the 21. So I think Alphen's going to get most laps led no matter what happens. Millett still enjoying a 5+ second advantage over the 21 of Alphen. If this thing goes on for another 15 or 20 minutes, I think Alphen's going to catch him and eventually pass Millett, but it's not going to be the case. A minute and a half remains. Millett may get the white flag here the next time by. Zach Millett just needs to focus on not making mistakes for another lap and a quarter. Asher Gwinsey going wide again. Got to give the driver that 12 a lot of credit, though. He's had a tough afternoon here at Indy. Obviously not a road racer, and that's fine. Most of these guys aren't. But he's been off track, he's been backwards, he's been facing the wrong direction, and here we are, just a minute left, and he's not giving up. He's still out there. White flag in the air, final lap for Zach Millett. Millett with a 5-second advantage over second place. Thing about these road courses, though, you don't always have to have the best pace. You just kind of have to be with the leaders as far as that end of it goes. Find someplace else that you can pick up some more time, whether it's pit entry, pit strategy, somehow find a way. Zach Millen just a handful of corners away of taking home a victory where he admittedly said pre-race, he's like, I'm off a whole second, is what he said in the practice session. I don't know where they're finding it. I don't know where to find it. Got to figure it out. He certainly got a little bit faster, but found a way to do it. Down to the right-hand turn 12 for the final time. Just listen to the RPM and how much things have changed. They're almost 5 seconds slower here now that they're on old tires. But Zach Millen out of turn 14, down the main straightaway. Checkered flag waves. Zach Millen wins the Sith Talk Grand Prix. Hard-fought second-place finish. Disappointment for Brandon Elfin. I'm sure he thought he had this one wrapped up at that halfway point, but man, just unable to overcome that deficit after the pit stops. But a strong run for the 21 either way. Justin Bondurant, P3. Sam Fontaine battling back after his issues. He's going to come home P4. Luke Daniels is going to be 5th. Millen on his cool down. He's not really taking his time, though. How Zach's got any rubber left underneath that truck to drift and do donuts. We'll see how long they last. Zach Millen Donuts on the yard of brick here at Indianapolis. Victorious here on the road course. We're going to jump out and get our last break out of the way and have our top 3 finishers in the broadcast booth after this. Stay with us.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Millet might have won this. He did by 2/100ths of a second over Brandon. That S4 guy off turn 4 for the final time sees the checkered flag. It waves. It belongs to the 315. Checkered flag. Contact and Brian Rose wins it. A photo finish at the line. Oh, we got a wreck. Will Hewitt's through the trial for the final time, and oh, they're wrecking. Big trouble. Vincent Short sneaks through, and I think Short. Back at Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course, Zach Millet, your race winner. Going to pull the driver of the 315 into the booth here and get a word. Zach Millet, it's Steve in the HBR TV booth. Are you with us?
Hey, Steve, got a copy.
Zach, congratulations on the race win here tonight. It was really a tale of two drivers. The first half of this race dominated by Brandon Alphen. You were able to close in the gap there for a moment or two. Then laps later, it turned into a second, then a second and a half, and then more, and then pit stops rolled through, and then things kind of flipped. Walk us through the pit strategy and how you managed to gain so much time on that pit cycle.
Man, I don't know. Really, the only chance I had was to short pit and just kind of hope I came out in front. And honestly, I think that first lap after I pit, I pushed pretty hard. I think I killed at least another 3 laps off my tires just at that one lap. But I cycled out ahead, talking to Brandon a little bit there, and I guess he slid off towards the end there, and I think that was the difference maker, man. He had the pace tonight. He was definitely the fastest truck out there, but I was trying pretty hard not to look at the relatives, Steve. It was a tough one.
It did come down to that incident. We saw it happen with the 21. He got off course, went through the grass in turn 12, and then went wide in 13 as well on that same incident. Cost him a lot of time. The eventual margin of victory, 4.5 seconds. It seems like a lot, but without that mistake, we had a completely different race here. We don't know. Maybe you would have won it, maybe you wouldn't, but at least we would have had something to watch.
I'm glad we don't have to find out.
Well, either way, congratulations, man. We watched those lap times fall and fall and fall as the race went on. Nicely done to keep that thing out in front without any mistakes.
Thanks, man. It was tough. I'm glad it wasn't any longer. The trucks were real slick tonight, man. It was just every lap, even the first, second lap with new tires. It was just a handful the entire time. So credit to everybody really for driving this race, man. It was fun.
Well, next week we don't have to go far. We're still here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but we're going to be on the big track on the oval itself. So how do you feel about your chances on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway? 4 turns instead of 14.
Man, India with the trucks, I mean, that might be pretty insane. I don't think I've ever raced the trucks there, so I'm pretty pumped about that. The draft plays a big part of it, so if we can get a big group of trucks, it'll be fun to watch, man.
Certainly looking forward to it. It sounds like a blast. Again, congratulations on the win here tonight, Zach. Who do you want to thank?
I got to thank the Black Horizon guys, the GLSR. It's a blast to run with these guys. Thanks for letting me in. I got to give a big thanks to Castle Pax Power, Gassel Products, for this paint scheme. It was pretty cool to get this paint scheme into victory lane. I'm pumped. Got to thank you, Steve, and HBR TV as always, Track Bar Media, Eric Dotson, State Farm, HBRShops.com. We've got a lot of new stuff over there, and Brian Rose has been working real damn hard on that website. It looks great. We got a lot of cool stuff. So yeah, go check it out. And shoot me a follow over on Twitch. I was irresponsible, did not stream tonight. But that S4 guy on Twitch.
All right, Zach. Again, congratulations. Good luck next week.
Thanks, man.
Zach Millet, your race winner here from the Indy Road Course. Next, we're going to talk to our pole sitter and runner-up, Brandon Alphen. We'll pull him into the broadcast booth. If I can get him pulled up here. Brandon, it's Steve in the HBR TV booth. You got us?
Yep, I got you, Steve.
Brandon, congratulations on unfortunate a second-place finish, but you were really, really fast. You had pace in practice and qualifying. First half of the race, it was a dominating performance by you. Walk us through the pit cycle. What could have been different? Is there anything you could have done to run Millet down?
I mean, really, I don't think I could have done anything to run him down. I felt like towards the end of that first run, we were both pretty even. Where, I might be better than him on one side of the track, and he kind of catches. I felt like we were kind of running around the same lap times, and just kind of really, we switched this year where we're not doing laps, and so it's a timed race, and so I didn't really. I mean, my plan going in was I'm just going to run it out, and so that kind of I saw him go to pit road. Then I was like, I had a pit, I felt like I kind of had a slow pit stop. I could have been a little bit better as far as getting in, but, Zach did a good job tonight, and I wish I wouldn't have ran off coming into 1 and 2 of the oval track going in, but I still don't think I would have caught him, so he did a good job.
We did see those two incidences, you trying to get to pit lane. You did have the 5 of Cameron Ingram right to the back bumper at that time. You seemed a little cautious trying to get to pit lane. I don't know if you were unaware if he was to your right side or not. Maybe that's what was some of the issue. How did it feel with the 5 there kind of bearing down on you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously kind of being aware. I mean, but you don't want to run two guys' races just to get to pit road. I know he had fresh tires, I believe too. So I mean, I know he had those new tires, and just kind of making sure it didn't run anybody's race. As far as me and Cam go and all that stuff. But that's just kind of the way it goes. I mean, just kind of where you catch. Sometimes you get lucky catching lap traffic in a good spot, and then sometimes you don't. So, I mean, that's about all you can do.
So the other incident into turn 12, was that just a matter of wheel hop? What happened to get you off the course there in through the grass?
The back end kind of kicked out a little bit on me, and so I kind of got off the brakes a little bit, so I didn't do a full spin on it. And because I mean, when I came out of the pits trying to catch Zach, I mean, I was trying to run hot laps pretty much the rest of the race just to catch him. So I was up just kind of on the wheel, white knuckling it, and just probably driving a little too hard, but I knew Zach was fast, and it just, like I said, just kind of probably buried it in there a little bit too deep when I downshifted, and it kind of kicked on me. So just trying to salvage a good finish and keep momentum going to try to make the top 4.
Certainly salvaged a good finish, a P2 finish. I know it's not what you wanted, man, but a job well done either way. Very impressive out there tonight. Next week, we don't go far, as I said to Millet. We're going to be here at Indy once again on the big track. 4 turns versus 14. And traditionally, drivers that do well on road courses tend to have some success at places like Indy or even Pocono. How do you feel up at your odds coming in here next week?
Feel good. I mean, in the years past, we always come to Indy. It's always, I actually got my first league win at Indy, and so that's what it kind of means a little bit to me. And I've always enjoyed the track. I'm hoping to have top 5 pace next week. I think I qualified in the top 3 last year. So like I said, my goal right now is just trying to get in the top 4. I haven't checked points right now, so just trying to, just keep the momentum going and rattle off a couple good finishes before we get to Chicagoland.
Certainly looking forward to it, Brandon. Again, congratulations on P2, man. Who do you want to shout out to?
I'd just like to give a shout out to the team, the Captain Crusaders, teammates as well, then also Dale's Pools for running on the truck. So we kind of got a new sponsor too. I thought I might change up the mojo a little bit with the sponsorship. So and also too, Steve, I'd like to give a shout out to you, man. I love going back and watching your broadcasts each week, so I appreciate it.
Well, I certainly do appreciate the kind words, Brandon. Love you guys going back to rewatch those. It certainly helps us here at the channel, man. Keep it up.
All right, I appreciate it, Steve.
Good luck. This is your runner-up, Brandon Alphin, here at Indy Road Course. Last but not least, let's go to Justin Bondurant. Get a word with our third-place finisher. Justin, it's Steve in the HBR TV booth. You with us?
I got you, buddy.
Justin, congratulations, man. P3 finish. Started outside front row. Bit of a scary turn 1 for kind of all involved. I think you had to check up to avoid contact with someone, but you managed to get through it all. Took the lead for a brief moment over Brandon Alphin. He quickly took it away, but tell us about your race. What were the strategies coming in? Did you have any? Was just kind of put the pedal down and go for it? What was the plan?
No real strategy with it being a timed race. I wasn't sure what lap we'd pit on. I didn't really have any long run pace for Alphin or Millet, but it's kind of in my own world there in P3.
So we talked to these guys about road courses versus next week here at the big track. Anything that translates from road course racing? I know it's not typical on most ovals, but a place like Indianapolis Motor Speedway, it is not a typical oval. Is there anything you learned here on the road course that you can apply next week?
Not really anything you could learn this week, other than you use the same part of the track as we did this week. But you have to know each corner. I feel like it's a momentum track. You can mess yourself up if you don't get a good exit. But yeah, nothing with the road course I feel like adapts over.
Well, either way, we certainly look forward to it next week. Justin, again, congratulations on P3. Anyone you want to shout out to before we let you go?
Shout out everybody from the Lap 1 Legends, and shout out you, always putting on a good broadcast.
All right, Justin, do appreciate it, man. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
It's your top 3 finishers here from the Indy Road Course. That was Justin Bondurant we just wrapped up with. Let's take a look at our race results. Of course, we talked to our top 3 finishers already. 4th place finisher, Sam Fontaine. Tough break for the 77. It's just what could have been for the 77 machine. I don't know if he had pace for Millet. Don't know if he had it for Alphen. Don't know if he had it for Bondurant. They never really got close enough to do anything with it. The first lap, first turn incident really hindered his progress tonight. Went all the way to the back and then went all the way back up into the top 5. So certainly putting your nose to the grindstone, working hard, not giving up, paying off for Sam Fontaine with a P4 finish. 5th place went to Luke Daniels. 6th went to Jason Dalton. 7th, Sean Petchin. 8th place finisher was Ben Pierce. Tristan Lattiser, Joey Lattiser that is, was 9th. Cameron Ingram was 10th. Diego Sainz finished in 11th. Brian Sutphin 12th. Luke Strayer was 13th. Jacob Gladich, Jacob Drift, was 14th. Stephen Miles, after a mid-race incident, not a major one, got off track, lost a lot of track position. He ends up being relegated to the 15th position. Asher Gwinsey, all over the racetrack, all over the grass, not giving up tonight. Again, I want to really hand it to him. He finishes 16th, 5 laps down, but did not give up. He ran all the laps that he could. He was there when the checkered flag dropped. So A+ to Asher Gwinsey. Keep trying. It will get better, I promise. Trey Anderson was P17. Tyler Brewer, 18th. Matt Telder, after an incident early on as well, he finishes 19th. And then Luke Simonson, credited with the 20th position, 34 laps down. Thank you guys all for tuning in tonight. This is certainly one that I look forward to. I like calling these road course races. They're certainly a challenge. They're not a lap to lap to lap. There's action all over the racetrack. It just doesn't happen in road course racing, but there's a lot of other elements to it. Of course, we were a timed event tonight versus a lapped event. Strategies came into play. We saw Zach Millett with the undercut. He went out and ran some qualifying laps, burned off his stuff. And we had some issues with Alphen getting off track and not able to close the gap. I mean, we had stories to cover. I know there's a handful of guys in here that are lights out on road courses, and the rest of them are just kind of oval guys, and that's okay. But man, it was fun. I do appreciate everyone being here. A handful of guys in the stream chat. That's always welcome. Again, keep that in mind next week for Indianapolis. I appreciate it. If you haven't already done it, check us out, hbrtv1.com. That's the new website. It is in progress. There's not a whole lot to it. There's really just a logo and a couple of links for the social media for YouTube and Facebook. If you haven't done so there, please give us a like, a follow, a share, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you don't miss a minute of the action. But that's going to do it for us here with HBR TV at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I'm Steve Singer with HBR TV, congratulating Zach Millett on the race win. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next week.